basket press is a wonderful, simple solution to getting more of the wine out of the massive grapes than gravity would just remove. So it's essentially a bunch of pieces of wood that are all held together by a couple of rings, and then something that comes down on top of it that you can put rocks on, or in the case of what we have now in more reasonably modern presses like the one I have, is a big screw that's on the interior, and you just put a big nut on the top of this big piece of wood or something, and then we take a piece of pipe and put it onto the nut part to give us a little leverage, and then we just pull on this thing and then screw it down. We go very slowly initially because I want to allow the juice to exit with the least amount of pressure possible. That way we're not forcing things from deeper in the tissues and muddling it up with the things that are not as deep in the tissues. So we just take it really easy. Once the flow begins to slow down to not a small continuous stream, then we'll continue to screw on this thing. But it seems that all of the stuff that we get at that pressure level, the most that a man or woman can really put on the thing physically, that seems to be a different kind of material than we get when we switch over to the cheater part, which is the hydraulics, and that allows us to put even more pressure on the mass. And what I like about that particular type of press is it doesn't necessarily require electricity to operate. It's very simple, and it can be operated very slowly, because if we operate this thing slowly, different things come out of the press at different times and different pressures. Different types of materials are released from those grapes depending on how hard they're being squeezed on. So it's a slow process that requires a lot of patience, but I think the reward is huge because, again, we're fractionating things out and we're getting the right pieces to put into an appropriate spot. There comes a point when we don't feel that what we're getting out of that mass is useful, and at that point we stop pressing. So we may get about 4 different fractions, or as many as 4, but it is remarkable when I train somebody to operate this press and just remind them to be patient. They don't really believe that things are going to change radically at different points, and it's fascinating to see the surprise on their faces when they do see these points and they actually recognize it. It seems like we're making things a little more complicated than we should. We are for a very short period of time, but it actually simplifies life later, and I think it's just a really wonderful tool and very powerful tool for us in our conditions.